Thank you for bringing your families. I love a full church, and even when there's screams and laughters and cries, I love it. I just assume it's Thomas cringing in the back at all the rookie mistakes that I'm making, so I love it. Please continue to bring your families. Father Tony and the Roman Missal both say this today. After the narrative of the Passion, a brief homily should take place if appropriate. It's appropriate. Yes, I do note the word brief. All right. So today, heard this beautiful, beautiful recollection of Jesus' passion. I just want you to take home one point and meditate on this. In psychology, there is a distinction between sympathy and empathy. We might use those words interchangeably. You think of a sympathy card, I'm sympathetic, empathetic, but there's actually a difference, and here's what it is. Sympathy is a feeling of pity or sorrow for someone else's misfortune. Whereas empathy would be the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. And so the image I'll give you for this is, Looney Tunes, when they would have Elmer Fudd would set up the trap, he'd have the leaves over the hole, and then he would hope that like Bugs Bunny or the Roadrunner would fall into the hole. All of us, to some extent, are in some sort of hole in our life, some sort of hole in the ground. And so sympathy responds to that hole in the ground by standing outside of that hole in the ground and saying, wow, that's a bummer. That's too bad. Empathy, on the other hand, gets into that hole in the ground, gets next to the person who is stuck down there and says, wow, it's so dark down here. How are you coping? Empathy actually gets into the situation with the other person. They're not just like, yeah, that's tough for you. But it actually embraces the suffering of the other person and says, I'm with you in this. As long as it takes, as dark as it gets, I'm here. Why am I bringing that up? Because that is what we just heard. The gospel that we just heard, that is not just a historical fact. It is historical. But if that's just something nice that happened 2,000 years ago and doesn't have any impact on me today, what are we even doing here? You could do this at home on Wikipedia. But here we are. Why? Because what we just heard, is Jesus climbing down that hole into your life, whatever you are going through, and entering into it, empathizing with you. You are not alone in whatever you are going through. I don't know what's going on in your life. Is it a loss of a loved one? Is it an addiction? Is there some sort of difficult relationship in your life? Financial stress, struggles at work or school, a physical, mental, spiritual illness? We are all, to some extent, in some sort of hole in the ground. And Jesus, the way that he chooses to love us, as we just heard, is to get into that place with us and to be there. You are not alone. I don't know how you can listen to that and think, wow, Jesus doesn't get it. Have you ever been betrayed by your best friends? Have you ever been misunderstood? Have you ever been mocked publicly? Have you ever lost a loved one? All of that is encapsulated. That is Jesus entering in to your and my brokenness. He is empathizing with us. And here's the example I'll give you of empathetic love in the real world. So I heard this story, family of 4, mom and dad. There was a daughter about 8 who had a serious health condition, and then a son about 4 years old. And this daughter with this health condition, they went into the doctor, and the doctor said, you need a blood transfusion. I'm not a doctor. Don't even ask me what that means. I don't know. But the doctors and the parents discussed, and they said, you know what? The best person to give her the blood that she needs is going to be the brother. And so the mom goes over and has this conversation with this little kid and kind of explains, we need you to do this, to give your blood so that she can get better and she can begin to recover. And the little boy is like, he closes his eyes, he's thinking really hard, tears start to stream down his face, and he says, okay, I'll do it. And the doctor's kind of like, okay, well, maybe he doesn't like needles or something. And so they put this child, the 4-year-old, on the place where he's going to give his blood to his sister. And he's laying on this bed, and they hook up all this stuff. He's starting to really cry now, and he just bursts out in tears. Goodbye, Mom. I love you so much. Thank you for being the best parents ever. That kid thought every drop of his blood was going to be drained. That kid just signed on the dotted line to give up his life so that his sister could live. You want to talk about empathy to the nth degree. He was willing to give up his life. How far did his love go? He loved his own in the world, and he loved them to the end. Who does that sound like? And so, my brothers and sisters, that's what Jesus does today. So my question for you is this. In the hole in the ground that you find yourself in today, we've all got them, so there's no shame. Will you let Jesus love you empathetically? Will you give him access to that dark place and let him be there with you there? How often in our life do we find ourselves in a dark place and we're not even looking at Jesus sitting here next to me? We're looking outside the hole saying, do you see me down here? Fix this problem. Fix this. Look what I've done. Look what I've done. Fix this. Fix it. And Jesus is sitting there, I'm right here. I'm with you in this. I've always had your back and I always will. So will you give him access to love you empathetically? And similarly, is there someone in your life that needs that empathetic love from you? For you to get down on their level. That's not to say that it's sort of an enmeshed sort of love. I'm taking on their difficulty, but I'm putting myself there with them. Jesus' love is empathetic. Let him love you that way and go and love others the same.